Hello there, it's Sarah from Paper Lovely. Thanks for joining me today. I am back with part 2 of my 10 cards 1 kits using the Spellbinders December 2018 card kit. If you missed the first 5 cards, make sure you check out the video that I posted yesterday. For now, I'm going to jump into card number 6, and I am keeping this one super clean and simple. I've used the gray textured cardstock that came in the kit to cut out this bear die cut, and here I am placing everything together. So you have that back leg there that needs to be glued down, and then I had used some of my post-it tape just to place that along the cutout portions behind his face. That way I had a space that I could glue those pieces to, and I didn't have to commit to putting it directly on the cardstock right away. So that is sticky, but I didn't quite trust that it was sticky enough. So I am gonna go ahead and add some glue into those cutout places there. I'm gonna put down the eye and the nose and the ear and the cheek. The eye and nose are cut from MFT's Black Licorice, and the cheek and ear are cut from Pink Lemonade. Then I've got the scarf cut out from Pure Plum, and the pink die cut words are cut out of Ripe Raspberry. And I love that adorable big black nose. I think that just sets off that face perfectly. So once I've got that all put together, I'm just going to position everything here, and I'm really just going straight down the center of my card base. And this card base is made from Nina Solar White cardstock. Once I have everything placed down, I'm going to add some of these embellishment dots on the front here, just to give a little bit more of a pop of color, and I think they go really well with that gray cardstock I used for the bear. He's got almost a little bit of a blue undertone to him. For the inside, I'm using that sentiment stamp set that came as a gift with this month's kit. There were 3 different options that they were giving away, and it was just, I believe, a random draw of what they sent you. So if you want to take a look at those, you can see a little more detail on that in my unboxing video. I am stamping that out using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. Here I'm going to grab some of the lighter sort of tannish pink colored glittery washi. I am in love with this glittery washi. I want it to come in every single card kit. And I'm going to place that down, and then I will use some double-sided tape and go ahead and place that trimmed down sentiment right on top of it. And that will complete card number 6. For card number 7, I'm doing a little bit of a collage here. So I've grabbed one of the tags and then some of the ephemera, and I've gone ahead and laid that out ahead of time. It takes me quite a while, and I fiddle around with a lot of things until I get it just perfect. I don't think it even really makes that much of a difference, but as I'm working on it, it certainly does in my mind. So once I'm happy with that, I will take a picture of it. And then I've trimmed down this gray snowflake paper to 4x5 1/4. And I'm going to recreate that looking at my picture as best as I can. And I'm going to start by gluing down this tag. And I'm just going to slide that underneath the other pieces. And then I'm looking at it, and as I'm placing things down, I'm deciding what I want to pop up for a little bit of dimension and what I want to leave flat. So I ended up leaving that pine cone piece flat, and then here I'm going to grab some pop dots and place those behind that larger snowflake. And then I'm gonna slide that circular snowflake right underneath there, and I'm gonna glue that flat down on the front of the card. And then I'm gonna finish that off with this Let's Celebrate sentiment. This was another part of the die cut pack. And I'm gonna pop that up, adding 3 of the pop dots behind there. I'll peel away the backing and then place that up towards the top there. Finally, I thought it needed just a little something more, so I'm gonna grab some snowflakes that I've trimmed out of that same gray cardstock that I used for the bear in the last card, and I'm gonna just place those around 2 at the top and then 1 at the bottom. When I place sort of smaller accent things, I always try to keep them in a triangle. It's just more pleasing to the eye, and it also helps to sort of draw your eyes along the entire portion of the card. For the inside of the card, I am using a Neenah panel trimmed to 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to stamp out that Happy Holiday sentiment that I love so much, again using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And then along the bottom, I'm going to add a piece of the darker brown glittery washi. I'll go ahead and add some of that double stick tape to the back there, and then place that here on the inside of my card base. And that will complete card number 7. I'm working here for card number 8, and I'm going to build a little bit of a scene. So I've grabbed some scrap Neenah cardstock, and I'm using my Lawn Fawn stitched hillside borders to trim out 3 different hills. I'm only going to end up using 2 of them, but here you can see I've laid out my scene. And to begin with, I'm going to take the hillside and I'm going to place that down, and then I'll go ahead and add in the 2 trees that are going to be in the front there in between those 2 layers. And then at this point, I'm gonna put that on hold a little bit. And I wanted to create some die cut snowflakes in this gray panel. This is the same gray that I have used for the bear. I'm really in love with this gray color. So I am running that through and using these 3, or actually I think it's just 2 smaller snowflake dies. And I'm just going to position those sort of randomly until I get some cutouts that I'm happy with. So here you can see my panel. I of course haven't done any cutouts towards the bottom because that's going to be covered by my hills. But I've added some art glitter glue behind that. I'm going to place that down here on some Neenah cardstock, and then I will go ahead and trim this out. And this measures 4 by 5 1/4. Here I'm going to grab those hillsides, and I'm using the straight edge of that bottom hill, and I'm going to line that up along the bottom of the card, or along the panel. And here I'm going to finally add in that little cityscape, and then I will add that final 3rd tree. There you can see have trimmed off the excess that was hanging over the edges there, and I'm going to lay out the rest of this card front. So I'm using some of these snowflakes that I had cut out, and I wanted just a little bit more texture. I wanted to fill it in a little bit more, so I'm adding 3 of those, and I'm just going to glue those right on top of the gray card front. And then I also grabbed, these are the dots from the November kit. I'm using some of the white, and I'm going to add 3 of those on the front as well. I'm going to take my art glitter glue, I'll add a little bit of that to the back, and then I'm placing this down on an MFT card base made from ripe raspberry. And here I'm trimming off an extra piece of that snowflake, the gray snowflake pattern paper, and I'm going to again place that along the bottom of my panel. I'll trim off that excess, again add some glue along the back, and then place that on the inside of my card. And that will complete card number 8. I've kept card number 9 incredibly simple. I wanted to use this beautiful pink and gold polka dot pattern paper, so I trimmed that down to 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to place that on top of a Neenah white card base. I have then taken this deer die cut as well as this snowflake die cut. I've got an extra piece of this plaid pattern paper, and I'm going to place that along the bottom there, trimming off the excess. There I'm just using my pokey tool to make sure those edges are down nice and tight since I've got 2 layers there. I'm going to pop up this circular snowflake with lots of pop dots. And then I'll peel off the backing there. I'm going to place that down in the center of that little banner. And then I'll grab this deer die cut and add some art glitter glue behind there, and I'll place that down right above my stripe at the bottom. For the inside, I'm using another scrap piece of that plaid pattern paper, and I've added the darker brown glitter washi along the bottom of that. I'm going to trim that down quite a bit, leaving just probably about 1/8 of an inch of that glitter. And I'll just save that washi for something else. And then I will add some of that double stick tape behind there and place that down along the bottom of my inside panel. And then I'll go ahead and add that on the inside of my card base. And that will complete card number 9. Here for card number 10, I'm going to create another little collage. So I've got lots of snowflakes there and this really cute little squirrel. I've grabbed this gold polka dot pattern paper, trimmed that down to 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to place that here on top of my Neenah card base. I've taken that winter sentiment and I have cut that out of black cardstock 3 times. I didn't have enough of my black licorice cardstock left to fit this out, so I'm using the thinner Recollections cardstock, and I wanted it to be a more thick element to put on the front of this. So I'm going to layer 3 of these together, and it makes a really nice thick, almost chipboard type of sentiment. And the nice thing about using the liquid glue is that gives you a little bit of time to sort of slide that around and make sure you've got all 3 layers perfectly on top of one another. So here again, I have laid out my design, and I'm going to start placing things down. I'm going to leave some directly on the card base, and then others I'm going to pop up. I started out by popping up that small die cut snowflake up there at the top corner. And here I'm just going to layer down the rest of these elements. So since I want to put that winter sentiment somewhat in the center there, I'm leaving the majority of everything else flat, but I thought it was really fun to have some dimensions, so I am going to take all 3 of those larger die cut snowflakes, and I'm going to pop those 3 up, and then the smaller one, because it's so small and delicate, I'm just going to leave that one flat on the card base at the bottom there. I'm realizing there that the die cut wasn't quite completely cleaned, so I just grabbed my pokey tool and I'm running that along the edges to clean out what was left there. And now that I've got all those smaller pieces down, I'm going to take that sentiment and I'll place that right in the middle there. And that's going to finish up the front. No, it's not. I'm going to add in some more of these blue dots. Give that a little bit of shine and a little bit more texture. And that will finish up the front. For the inside, I've again got a Nina panel trimmed to 4 by 5 1/4. This time I'm going to use that lighter pink sort of tan glitter washi. I've added that as a stripe across the bottom, and I've got 3 more of those gray-blue snowflakes. I'm going to add 2 along the bottom on top of that washi tape, and then I'll add 1 more at the top to complete my triangle. I've added some glue to the back of that, and I'm going to go ahead and place that on the inside of my card base. And that will complete card number 10. Here are a few close-ups of the finished cards. In the description box below, you'll find my blog post, which has additional photos and links to the supplies I used. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a comment or a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.